Hi there, Steve with A to Z Mobile Detailing and Old Glory Detailing and PDR Services. I'd like to just give you some tips and tricks on how to wash your car in the winter when it's cold outside. First things first is that it's about 38 degrees right now. I'm in New Jersey, so it's a typical January day. I am going to be washing my 95 Porsche 968 convertible. I want to take it out for a drive today. It's nice enough and it's sunny, so get out there and kind of warm all the fluids up, but I'd like to have a look good when I do that. So I'm going to be using Optimum No Rinse right here, and I'm going to be using a microfiber wash mitt by Meguiar's right here, and I've got several microfiber towels I'm going to be using to dry as well. Now, one quick tip with this is that if the temperature has been in the 20s in your area, if you do this, please make sure that when you are using the products that you are being very careful that ice is not building up around your car. What happens is that when the ground is cold enough and the water stays there, it will freeze up. And especially if you're in a garage, somewhere where there's no sunlight, you can definitely have that happen. I've been there and done that. So, without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera and I'll show you how this process works. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing now, I'd like to note this car is not that dirty. It's just been sitting in the garage, so it's just kind of dusty. So first thing I'm going to do is I've got my microfiber wash mitt here. I've put 5 capfuls into my 5 gallons of water. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub this along, and I'm not putting any pressure on the glove. I'm not doing anything that is going to be rubbing really hard. All I want to do is I want to get enough water and enough product of the solution onto the surface, and you'll see that the dirt is encapsulated by the actual solution. So the idea is to let the product do the work for you. You don't want to have it so that you're rubbing hard. If you rub really hard on your surface, you will cause abrasions. You're not going to scratch the surface unless you're using a dirty mitt or if you've got some bird droppings or something on there. So you go nice and easy. I actually like to do usually a fender and a hood or something like that. If you're working in the shade, you can wash the entire car and then go back over it again as you're drying, so you can do that. But the way Optimum recommends that you use this product is to wash either a panel at a time or a section at a time, so that way you can go back and dry it off before the product has a chance to actually dry on the surface. Now, if it does dry on the surface, all that you have to do is rewash that surface with some of the solution, and that'll actually make it very easy for you to go back. Okay, so I've managed to wash the hood. I've got the fender on the driver's side done. I'm going to go do the fender on the passenger side. So here we go, we've got that done as well. And it's funny, I can actually see the dust being encapsulated and just running off with the solution. It's great. Now people tend to ask, what happens when the mitt gets dirty? Well, really, you can switch the mitt out and you can get a new mitt. You can do that for every section of the car. Since this car is not that dirty, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to use this mitt for the entire time. But when you wash the mitt later, you will see the mitt will get quite dirty as you're going. The whole idea is that the solution is really removing a lot of those contaminants, so you don't have to worry about that. And the mitt may get stained, and that's okay. All you have to do is wash it and make sure that it's good and clean before you use it again. So now I've washed the entire front end of the car. I've done the bumper cover, I've done the headlights, I've done both fenders and the hood. So what I'm going to do next is use a good and soft microfiber towel. So these microfiber towels you can find on autogeek.net or at Amazon. I have them on my website, as well as I have links to the products that I'm using on my website. So all I'm going to do is just go, and once again, I'm not pushing at all. If you push, you're going to cause hazing and swirl marks. The idea behind this is to be very gentle, very light. So all I'm doing is I'm just running the towel along just enough to pick up the water that's on the panel. So you'll see that it leaves a really nice shine. This is a great product to use just for maintenance style like this, for when you're just washing. I also use this, and you'll see in a different video, where I use this as my lubricant for the clay when I do my clay bar. All right. Now, because I didn't wring the mitt out, I did not take and wring the mitt substantially, there's quite a bit of water on the floor. And that's okay, that will dry, that's no big deal. But once again, if you're in an area where it's very cold and the water may freeze, you may want to wring the mitt out, or you can put something underneath of the car to catch that water. Now, one thing I would like to point out, my microfiber towel here is starting to get pretty saturated because of the fact that I am just mopping up this water with it. And that's okay. I'll probably wind up using about 5 or 6 of these towels to dry the car off. Now, I do have microfiber, waffle weave water magnets, my new wires. I use those as well. But I think these, for something like this, where this car has been polished extensively and I've really done a good job keeping it looking nice and pretty defect free. Using those waffle towels, if it's a car that's really perfected, you run the risk of putting some swirls or either some wash marks into it. And I don't want to do that. I've already worked enough on this car that I'd like to just maintain it at this point. So, alright, so there's that part done. I'm going to move the camera and I'll show you a couple other tricks. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the side here and I'm going to be washing off this door, doing the windshield here. And one good tip, of course, is to lift up the wiper arm so that way you can get in there and really clean where that would be on. So now I'm starting with the glass. Now notice that I always start at the top and I work my way down. That's going to help because what's going to happen is that as the water rolls down the panel, it's going to catch some of that loose dust and dirt. So I want to do that as much as possible. Now here for my convertible top, I'm just using the same glove and I'm going ahead and going over the convertible top and using that and just getting it nice and moist. I don't need to worry about scrubbing that because it's been cleaned, so I'm not going to worry about that at all. Now, one of the best things about using no rinse is that you can use that on the windows, and when you use it on the windows and you dry it well, you actually don't have to use a separate glass cleaner. You can just use the no rinse, the solution that you just did. It'll leave a nice, clear, and clean window surface as well. All right. So once again, I'm just cruising right along. No pressure on the glove whatsoever. Nice and smooth. So here's another quick tip. So what I've done now is I've washed the whole car. I went over everything. So what I'm going to do is I've used about 5 different microfiber towels to dry the car as I've been going. Now I saved the last one because what I want to do with this is I'm actually going to go and I'm going to wipe out the door jambs. Now the reason that I'm using the wet microfiber towel that I was using before is because, well, I don't need to use a ton of water in here. It's not that dirty. And this will actually make it so that the next time I go to get into the car, it's nice and clean. Looks like it was just clean, and it can actually help save it so that your pants don't also get dirty. So that's a quick tip you can use. Use some of the moist or the wetter towels that you use to dry the car in order to clean out the jams, and that'll be really nice as well. Now if your jams are extremely dirty, obviously you don't want to do that. You'd want to take your washcloth, wring it so it's almost dry, then go ahead and wipe it down and then dry it out. But if it's like this car and it's pretty clean, it's just been sitting for a little while, this is a great way to remove the dust and the grime from there and have your car look like it's been detailed professionally. One last tip, I washed the wheels using the same process. Now, I did use a different towel and I did use a different mitt because I don't like to mix. If I'm going to use certain towels for the body, then what I want to do is use them for just the body. If I'm going to use them for the wheels, they're going to be for just the wheels. You don't want to get that brake dust all over the place. So what I did was I just wiped down the wheels, same as I did before, and now I've got a nice clean wheel. Now, if the wheels are extremely dirty, it may take 2 or 3 attempts. Now, I used the same water. I still had a lot of water left in that bucket, so I used the same water. But if the wheels are very dirty, you may need to get another 3 gallons worth of water and try it with that. So there's a little bit on how to clean your car in the wintertime. Keep it looking nice and new, and that way the salt and all the elements don't hurt your finish.